It's been more than 100 years since a Marysville police officer died in the line of duty. Until today, an officer was shot and killed while executing a search warrant in Yuba County. Now, just moments ago, the police department identified the fallen officer as Osmar Rodarte. The Marysville Police Department shared these pictures of him. He worked with the agency for 2 years, and the shooting happened in Olivehurst off Kestrel Court this morning around 8 a.m. Investigators say the officer was working with the Yuba County Narcotics and Gang Task Force. That unit is called Net 5. They say the group was issuing a warrant as part of a years-long investigation into a transnational drug operation when they were met with gunfire. The suspected shooter was killed, and this afternoon the community showed up to show their support for the fallen officer. A line of law enforcement and other first responders made their way through downtown Marysville. And tonight we do have team coverage in Yuba County tonight from Marysville to the scene in Olivehurst. But first, I want to go out to ABC 10's Luke Clary. He is in Marysville. Luke, we got an update today from law enforcement just hours ago. What else are we learning tonight?
Well, Alex, it's been a sad and somber day here in Marysville among law enforcement officers and ordinary civilians, too. But we are learning more about the circumstances that led up to the shooting this morning and that years-long investigation into transnational drug trafficking organizations. Here's what we know so far. The Yuba County Narcotics and Gang Enforcement Task Force was executing search warrants in 20 locations across Northern California today, and this was one of them, the home on Kestrel Way in Olivehurst. The Yuba County District Attorney said that the central suspects in this operation were moving meth and fentanyl across the border from Mexico into California.
These were major players moving poison through our communities, and we couldn't just sit and watch it happen. We had to do something about it, and it's just tragic, and on all of us would just ask that you be praying for the officer's family and for his law enforcement community that's also grieving today.
The officer was an operator with the Yuba County Regional SWAT team. He was transported to Rideout Hospital in Marysville, where he died of his injuries. The suspect was pronounced dead at the scene. Now, the district attorney told us to expect more details on the other 19 search warrants that were executed across Northern California today as well. The arrests that had been made, we should learn more about all of this in the coming 24 to 48 hours. Reporting live in Marysville, Luke Clary, ABC 10.
Luke, thank you so much. The scene where all of this unfolded in Olivehurst is still active, and that's exactly where we find ABC 10's Gabriel Porras. Gabriel, I know you've been out there all day, all afternoon. What are you hearing from neighbors tonight?
That's right, Alex. We are hearing a lot of shock tonight. The footprint of this scene is relatively small. The investigation seems to be centered inside of a home here on Kestrel Court, but police have had this large area blocked off for hours now, which is why it is hard to see much from the ground. From the sky, though, you can see investigators walking into and out of the home all day. There have been law enforcement officers here from several agencies, including the FBI. Just before 2:30 p.m., an armored SWAT car that was positioned outside of the home was driven away from the scene here. Now, this neighborhood is on the outskirts of Olivehurst. There are only a couple dozen homes behind police tape, and neighbors say it's most people in this area know each other who live in this area. It's part of the reason why all of this has come as such of a tragic shock.
Something like this I've never seen appear here. We've had mail theft and stuff like that, but other than that, it's a quiet neighborhood.
They have never seen anything quite like this here. Seeing what happened this morning to one of the people in charge of protecting the community has had some neighbors questioning their own safety. Now, every car going into and out of this neighborhood throughout today has had to be checked in one by one here at the scene with this large area blocked off as police continue to investigate this scene here. That's the latest live here in Olivehurst. I'll send it back to you.
All right, Gabriel, thank you so much. Tonight, we are learning more about just how dangerous it is for law enforcement to serve search warrants, especially in narcotics cases. ABC 10 investigative reporter Andy Judson spoke with a law enforcement expert who breaks down why these operations can turn deadly.
Yeah, Alex, narcotic raids are some of the most high-risk operations law enforcement can face because in most cases, drugs, weapons, and money are involved. That's what Robert Grant III told me just moments ago. And with 30 years in law enforcement, including in narcotics, he knows firsthand how dangerous serving search warrants can be in these types of situations. He says attempting to serve 20 warrants in a single day, as the agencies were doing in Marysville, is a massive undertaking. When organized crime or drug rings are involved, information spreads rapidly between suspects, escalating the danger with every door knock.
Because imagine you're in dope house number 18, and number 1 goes down, and you start to get an inkling, the police are there in number 1. Then you get a second call from number 3, and then from 7. And now you're in 18 thinking, oh my goodness, I need to start preparing. You start, trying to destroy evidence and the like. By the time they actually get to the 18th door, that's as dangerous as it comes.
And that escalation, he says, is why judges often approve nighttime and no-knock warrants, knowing any delay could turn deadly. He also said in operations like this, every officer on scene plays a critical role, meaning the Marysville officer killed may have been there simply to provide necessary support. And I asked him if he thinks we could see more large-scale narcotics operations like this one under the current administration. And he believes the answer is yes, saying with a tighter focus on the nation's borders, the drug trade is shifting, making these raids even more high risk. Alex, back to you.
All right, Andy, thank you so much. Assemblymember James Gallagher, who represents the Marysville area, is mourning the falling officer tonight. Gallagher says this officer was a hero and went to work understanding the risks of his job, all to protect his community. ABC 10 caught up with Gallagher just as he was about to speak at a committee hearing at the state capitol today. He was completely overcome with emotion, reflecting on what happened in his district.
There's a police officer who's no longer protecting our community, a father, I have kids of my own, and so you just, you think about, this is a guy who had his whole career ahead of him.
For now, Gallagher says that he's going to focus on figuring out exactly what happened and also provide support for the community. ABC 10's Garshpal Sangha joins us in front of the Marysville Police Department. Garshpal, obviously just an emotional day. This is extending beyond just Marysville, but our entire community. What have you really learned about the officer who died in the line of duty?
Alex, information is slowly trickling as more and more information is being released. We're learning that this officer was a 2-year veteran with the Marysville Police Department, also a U.S. veteran, and we're learning his name just about 15-20 minutes ago, and they released photos of the officer. You can see those on your screen. Marysville Police tell us that the officer's name was Osmar Rodarte. His age has not been released, but we're told he was young and that he was well liked, and we're told that he was a father and leaves behind a family. Now, many people have been coming by to place flowers, to pay their respect, as this is a very tight-knit community, and this is we caught up with one person who was doing just that.
We've grown up here our whole lives. It saddened us, We don't want to see anybody killed, especially an officer in the line of duty, trying to save our community from fentanyl and things of that nature.
And back out here live, this is one of the few flowers that has been placed. The majority of them, people have been walking into the headquarters, placing them there. You can see the one that's further closer to the front entrance there. Now, this marks the first time a first line of duty death for Marysville Police in over a century. And also, Marysville Police just told us tomorrow at 9:30 in the morning, there will be a procession from the Lakeside Chapel here in Marysville to Placer County. So they're inviting the community to come here, line up along the sidewalks to show their support. Reporting live in Marysville, Garshpal Sangha, ABC 10.
Thank you, Garshpal. Again, we know that this is very tragic for our entire community. We are working to uncover more details in this investigation as we continue to talk to officials. So we will be bringing you updates on air and on the ABC 10 Plus TV streaming app. You can download this app for free straight to your TV.